In 2018, I stumbled upon an extraordinary exhibit of photography, and when I found out that the artist lived local, I said, we gotta get her on Art Zone, and we have got her, and here she is, Deb Achak, everybody. Yay!
Thank you,
I'm
Nancy.
so glad you're here. Okay, so the exhibit that I saw, it featured warm weather beach and water photos, and what grabbed me was how visceral they were. I could feel the heat, I could feel the water, I felt like I was there. And that really is due in part to the way you shoot, and it's a process that you call aquatic street photography.
That's right.
Is that right? So that's a really intriguing phrase, so unpack that for me. What does that mean?
I put my camera in a housing, and I go to crowded beaches.
And a housing is something like
A waterproof housing where I can manipulate my camera and do all the things I need to do, but bring a beautiful camera with beautiful lenses into the water.
Got it.
And I frequent crowded, colorful public beaches and capture people having joy, experiencing the water from the vantage point of the water, using all the techniques that street photographers use, but I'm actually swimming while I capture the images.
So do you not, you want them to know you're taking the photo, you don't want them to know? I mean, you said you can get close. How close?
As close as possible, really. But I prefer, my style is that people not know I'm there.
Right.
And when I say close, I mean my photograph, the selfie that was shot in Positano, I've got subjects really, really close to the camera, and then the entire city of Positano, you know, in the background of the photo.
Since you're not holding the camera up to your eye, how do you compose the shot?
I do a lot of holding it up to my eye to compose, to kind of understand what's in the frame and what I'm seeing. Of course, I'm reading the light and, you know, all of the things that are important for composition. But then often I try and hold the camera a little bit lower. That relaxes people a little bit. It's down here, they're not as uncomfortable. As soon as you raise a camera to your eyes, people become very alert.
They freeze up too.
And I just love the imagery of holding it at my heart. Because this is not, this isn't satire. I'm not trying to make people look foolish. I really love my subjects, and so the idea of sort of shooting from the heart, I really like that.
Can you tell when you have got the shot, when it's like, oh, boom, I nailed it?
Yeah.
You can. How do you know?
I'm seeing through my viewfinder what I'm capturing, and by the light that day, the clouds, the scenery, the colors, we just have, you know, an intuition about these things.
Right, you just have the eye.
Yeah.
So I feel a real emotional difference between the shots with people in them and then more the nature, purely nature. Do you know what I mean by that? There's a difference emotionally, and how would you, if you do, how would you describe that?
So you're referring the difference between ebb and flow and the aquatic street, completely different.
Yeah.
But interestingly, almost always taken in the same location.
Right.
So one is I'm pointing the camera towards the water and capturing the water's movement and that interplay between the surface of the water and my camera lens. And the way that moves, that's something I can't control, which I love. I love that element of surprise. And those are meant to be really an intimate experience for the viewer. They're a very intimate experience for me. And I want the viewer to feel that they're submerged by the water.
In it.
Right. In the water.
Right.
And to see all the little subtle nuances of the surface of the water, I'm just really fascinated by that. So yes, that has a completely different feel than when I turn the camera back towards the beach and swim in closer to people and capture them having fun.
And what are you trying to capture with the people?
Joy.
Joy.
I think at the root of my work is joy. Yeah, and there's something about the way people interact in the water. They're all there to relax, to play. It's such a beautiful experience that I really think what I'm capturing is joy. I'm in my joy while I'm doing it as well.
You grew up in the water as well, right? You have a love of the beach, a love of being in the ocean or lake or whatever.
All of this I didn't realize at first, but upon reflection is such a nod to my childhood, where we would spend our summers in crowded, colorful public beaches. I grew up in New Hampshire, always within an hour of the water. This is how we recreated as a family. This is how we spent time together. And those memories are really beautiful to me. They were mostly spent with my mother and my two brothers at the beach. And I just think it's so interesting that then motherhood brought me back to that experience. So it's sort of bridging my childhood and then my life as a mother too.
Yeah, yeah. There's your photos. To me, they're nostalgic, and there's a yearning quality. That picture of kids swimming, and I think it's called the Q, right?
Yeah.
It's sweet and sad to me at the same time. And so, when you create a photo, is there a particular thing, or also joy, but is there something else you're trying to communicate to people or to the world? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. So that's an interesting photograph because I wasn't intending to get that one, and that's one of those lucky, amazing experiences that street photographers have. Yeah. I went to Black Rock that day because I was intending to shoot the jumpers as they went into the water. I'd kind of missed a great opportunity the year prior, and when I went back, I had a little bit of an agenda about getting that shot. Yeah. But my son was climbing up on that rock with those kids, and he was a little bit anxious. And so that's me being a mom. I was in that position. But I could see through my viewfinder that I had something really special. Wow. And that was that lineup of people marching from one corner of the frame all the way up to the top.
Up above the water, yeah.
And there's something about suspension in water. I think average bodies, normal bodies, just look so poetic and so beautiful in the water. These aren't models. These are everyday people, and everyone just looks so held by the water. People have often said water is the ultimate surrender, but where I happen to shoot, I think it's the ultimate engagement. People are really engaged with the water.
Do you have a future goal of something you want to shoot or a subject you want to shoot that's looming out there?
You know, I'm committed to traveling the world and capturing beach culture in as many different places as possible, and then looking at the work and reflecting on those themes and what emerges. I want to capture what's unique about each place, but also what's similar about each place. So that work is definitely continuing. And then ebb and flow as well, those subtle nuances in the water wherever I go.
Yeah. It's like you're constantly just finding those little changes,
little
details.
Yeah.
Well, I adore your work, and there's lots of places for you to see Deb's work. She has a current solo show, Culture and Sea. It's up through March 31st at Blink UX Research and Design on Western Avenue near Coleman Ferry Dock. Deb is also represented by Winston Walker Gallery on Dexter Avenue, and of course she has a website where you can see all of her photos and her beautiful short films at debachakphotography.com. Well, thank you so much, Deb. I'm so glad you came by, and I love your work. You're doing good things in the world.
Thank you so much, Nancy.